Man, oh man, do I need your guys' help with that. Guys, make sure you're slapping a like on the video. As always, make sure you're commenting and subscribing. It's Connor. We were there for the watch along. We were there for whatever the hell that was. And we're back here discussing Leeds United's loss at Millwall, which sort of drags our average points per game down. Means that Leeds have got draw, loss on their last 4 away games. Is that good enough, in your opinion, for Leeds United, who really we all have been in agreement that we should be topping the table with the amount of money that we spent on the squad, with the fact that we've got internationals on the bench, even with injuries? Is that good enough right now? I don't think so. And I'm just being hit at the minute with inconsistency because of it feels like we start and then we stop. We start and then we stop. And whether or not that's injuries, obviously, I know we've not, lost a lot of games. I know we've drawn a lot of games, but it feels like this season, because of the privileged position that we're in, draws are almost losses, aren't they? They really are, with, the pace that we need to keep up for this season, in my opinion. It's a big loss for Leeds today, and I think it culminated in so much. And get your thoughts in the section below. I want to get into exactly what you guys were thinking, because I'm really interested to hear your thoughts after that. The goal that Millwall scored was the most predictable Millwall goal, which Millwall score most weeks. You've seen them score that goal against Burnley. And fair play to Millwall. Fair play. I thought they were aggressive on every single Leeds touch. I thought they pressed us better than probably any other team have done, but that's because it's their cup final. They love this game. They wanted it on a Saturday. They didn't want this game on a midweek because it's their biggest game of the season. This is the game that they look out for, as most championship teams look out for Leeds. Bristol City, it was a sellout when we went down there. It always happens. So you've got to increase your game for these teams in this division, these teams who look at Leeds, we've got Leeds at home, we'll be well up for that, and they end up selling out, or they sell a massive amount, and Leeds have got to step up to the plate. But that's no excuse for this side. This side have this continuously. We know that what happens, you've got players in this team who've experienced this before, in Dan James Jr., Firpo, Pascal Struijk, even Joe Rodon from last season. Teams raise game against Leeds United. We know this. That, my French, was shite. That was not good enough. The standard wasn't high. The tempo was off. The dynamic in the squad was poor. You didn't have players taking on players. I didn't think there was a lot of risk tonight. I thought it was very, very safe. The safety was on. It's all right. Just keep passing the ball laterally, passing it backwards. I didn't think we got Joel Peru in the game whatsoever. Is that Joel Peru's fault, or is that the team's fault? I didn't think Joe Rothwell was good enough tonight. I didn't think when the centre-backs had the ball, the midfield were creating enough angles for the centre-back. I thought Jayden Bogle had his poorest game in a while. Leeds were just off it. Massively, massively off it. And you looked at the game at the beginning and you thought, well, who's the X factor? Who's giving me that one direction? And there was only one direction. It was going into Leeds United's goal this evening. It was so predictable. The game was predictable. And Leeds were just passing the ball across that midfield, across the defence, out wide, back across the midfield, out wide. Just the predictability that we've seen previously with Leeds United. And that ain't good enough. Why? Because as I was mentioning all week, the standards aren't there. They're not even there. They're there. Leeds United, with what we're spending on this squad, with the quality with this that we have within this squad, with really just Ramazani out, if we're being serious, because I think Tanaka, if we're being honest, Tanaka and Rothwell have replaced Gruev and Ampadu pretty well. So with just Ramazani in that front four out, which is a massive out, still with Solomon, with James, with Nonso, with Joseph, with Peru, with the attacking options we have, with the bedrock of that midfield, with Brendan Aronson as well in there, this team is good enough. It is more than good enough to be beating Millwall, with the greatest of respect. Millwall were at 10 out of 10 tonight. They were at 9, 10 out of 10 tonight. And their fans, fair play, they'll be coming out going, what a brilliant performance that was. They were all on the line. Danny McNamara did well when he came in. Joe Bryan was out, one of the best players this season. He was out. They had a couple of others out as well. Joe Bryan being the main one. And Leeds United just went there and we just played into their hands, completely played into their hands. And that was the big problem for me this evening. It was, and for the goal that we conceded, a set piece like that, didn't double up on Jake Cooper. So we hadn't learned from the weekend when Jake Cooper did that against Burnley. You sort of had like Jayden Bogle backing up into him, and then you had Joe Rodon who couldn't get off the floor. Cooper wins the header, and then Leeds don't react for the second ball, which really I thought was how that game went, really. When we were in possession, it was great. Leeds were keeping the ball. It was 70, 80% possession. But what did we do? What did we actually do? And that's my problem with this evening. I don't think we did enough to win that game. Obviously, the offside goal, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of people saying to me that it was onside, and the officiating tonight was absolutely abhorrent. It was appalling. But what I will say is I'm not going to use that as an excuse. I'm never going to use that as an excuse this season. I'm going to bitch and moan about it. Of course I am, when they've not put in the right performance that officials should be putting in. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse. No way, because this team, as I keep saying, should be winning most games in the division. I'm just going to take you on to the stats, everybody. So I'm just going to switch cameras up a little bit before we get into your comments. So stay with me here. But these are the stats this evening between the two teams. So Leeds having 75% possession, barely creating really any XG. Millwall don't need that much XG, we know that. 13 shots, 4 on target. Millwall with the better percentage when it comes to, shots and shots on target, 7-3. Leeds having nearly quadruple the amount of passes that Millwall had. And Leeds actually committing more fouls, which is interesting because Leeds are obviously trying to press in some sequences. Millwall were trying to press as well. And obviously that pivotal offside, which unfortunately meant that Leeds United didn't get that equalising goal. But was that enough, everybody? Would a equalising goal have been enough? For me, it wouldn't have been. It would have had to have been a win for Leeds tonight. I think that was the expectation for me coming into it, especially off the back of what Sheffield United did the other night. I don't know what the Sunderland result was. Let me just have a quick check. You guys are probably going to be screaming at me. But as I say, keep getting your thoughts in. As Leeds lose, I'm just going to have a quick look on what Sunderland have done. Have they won? Let's have a quick look. It's 0-0 in the 90th minute, but they've not lost the game. They've not lost the game, and obviously that puts Leeds 2 points off Sheffield United, who now take pole position with Sunderland on 28 and 30. Leeds 4 points off the top and 2 points off Sheffield United. But I think we all know that game's happened too many times. And it's a collective. It's not just this season. A lot of it's happened last season as well, where Leeds just struggle. They struggle to figure out, especially away from home, we struggle to break down a low block and we struggle to figure out what to do. And that is my concern with the best squad in the league. I literally don't care what excuses we get given today, which we'll get so many excuses. Millwall were in a low block. We knew what they were going to do. We knew before the game, we spoke to Dan from Lions TV, what they're going to do, set pieces. And we're not winning the first balls and the second balls in a lot of these sequences. It's not good enough. Not good enough. And I thought Millwall will way. There's not that much breakdown analysis to do tonight. I thought Millwall were way more up for it than we were tonight. That's how I felt judging the game. And I want to get your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Here you have said, I'll never understand why Farke makes subs so late. In this case, Joseph and Peru and Bamford on at the same time. Dan James at right back, very odd. Yeah, here you. And look, there was sort of one option tonight, I felt, and it was Mr. Willian Yonso. Did I think he was good? No. Did I think he was good? Absolutely not. I didn't think any of them were good out there, and did any of them deserve the win? No. But what I will say is, whatever anybody says, he is the X factor in this side. When you've not got Ramazani in there, he's the X factor. When Rutter's gone and Somerville's gone, he is the X factor. So you take him off in like the 80th minute, which he kind of likes to do. I understand that he did it against Norwich for the 10 minutes. I think we'd have won that game personally. We're on top. I think we'd have won that game. He took Ramazani and Nonto off in the 80th minute to preserve them for Sunderland, then took them off again, didn't he, in that game? Albeit the game should have been won. But yeah, I don't understand why that's his sort of go-to sub when it comes to Willian Yonso. Bamford comes on, and the most frustrating thing is, everybody, this is why I think a lot of fans get frustrated with it. When you get people saying it's almost like you're throwing stuff against the wall and hoping it sticks, why would you put Bamford on and not put the ball into the box? I don't understand people. What he brought Bamford on against Bristol City, I believe it was, wasn't it, for 6 minutes. Brings him on. And he seems to do this when we're not able to get a goal. Brings Bamford on, who isn't prolific. We know that, who's been struggling, but he brings him on in these circumstances and we don't put the ball in the box. What's the point? What's the point? It might ricochet. Something might happen. And that's not all on Daniel Farke. The players have to take that responsibility as well. And this is why I'm coming at the players a little bit more. With Farke, the problem is these results have happened previously more than once. And I can't... Farke's doing well this season. He's doing well this season. But this team should be doing well. Yeah? You've got to give the manager plaudits, of course you have. But this team, make no mistake about it, should be doing well under any manager, under you and me. This team is more than good enough to do very, very good numbers this season, and we all know that. And we can't be revisionists about this. We can't change history from what we were saying before the game and now after the game. The team is more than good enough. I felt Millwall were up for it tonight, and we weren't. And we played into their game for me. Farke's first touch says, let's be honest, when Millwall scored, we could all see what was going to happen. I was never on board with Leeds away with it. Leeds run away with it because we have this in as okay. Leeds running away with the league, and you're right. This is the thing. We Tottenham have this thing, don't they, where it's very Spursy, and I guarantee I'm going to have a quick look in the chat right now, and people will say, "Look, we haven't lost in X amount. It's this, it's that." And you're always going to get this in football. You're always going to get the people who are half glass empty and half glass full, 100%. But if this was just a flash in the pan, if this was a random event, I'd go, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. Come on, you can't really legislate for that. And we've been good this season. Leeds have been good this season, but we should be good. We should be winning the league, really, with what we have and what the other teams are producing. I'm a little bit concerned with this away form. I think this away form drastically needs to increase. I think that result puts us below 2 points per game now. And the reason we are probably 2 points per game is because we're looking at this away form where we've drawn to Norwich, we've drawn to Sunderland, we've drawn to Bristol City, and we've lost to Millwall. Now, even if you want to take Norwich and if you want to take Sunderland, fair enough. If that's the standard what you're setting, that's fine. You cannot, out of Bristol City and Millwall, you cannot get 1 point. That's not good enough. Because then if you look at the other teams, you look at, let's say, Sheffield United from last night, they've gone away to Blackburn, they've gone away to Bristol City, they've got 6 points out of 6 away from home. They seem to have sewn up that away from form, really, barring us. That consistency means a lot. Now, barring them losing to Leeds, they've done okay. As we can tell, they had a 2-point deficit at the start of the season as well. We can't go on this mantra as a fan base in the same vein as, oh, well, we beat you, so that means we're going to get promoted, because we did the same thing with Ipswich. We did the same thing with Leicester. Who got promoted at the end of it. We need to start seeing consistency with Leeds United, and consistency doesn't include draws, okay? And the standard, the expectation, everybody, for me, with this team, with how well put together it is, the standard and the expectation is up, right? So we should be winning most games. We should be winning 90-95% of games for me. And it's just this away form for me hasn't been properly ironed out this season. And tonight was a real disappointment for me. A real disappointment. Let's have a couple of, you got loads of comments in, everybody. Claire Brown says, the players need to take responsibility for tonight's performance. Not good enough tonight. Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Claire. Keep getting your comments in the section below, everybody. Aragorn says, Sunderland play without pressure. Leeds players, if the world rests on our shoulders, need to bring the fun back to Leeds. Yeah, 100%, mate. And look, I think when you look at the game this evening, unfortunately, we let Millwall impose themselves, and that was from a physical side, but it was also from a game plan side, and that's a problem. That's a problem because you need to impose yourself. You need to be strong enough. You need to have the characters within your side to take some of the younger players and say, no, this isn't happening. We're not getting dragged into this set piece game. We're not getting dragged into this atmosphere game. And we've seen that performance aside from last year for 15 years then. And you could have told me tonight that we were playing under Warnock, Darko Milanic, McDermott, Redfern. You could have told me that we were playing under any of those managers because it was the exact same result and the exact same game plan as what's happened over those 15 years. So that's not good enough. That's not good enough, because at least back then we had a crap team. Right now, by this championship standard, we have an Avenger-style team. It's good enough. And you got every other championship side saying that. And if you don't believe that, look at the amount we're spending. And literally, guys, I know like a lot of you say, look, you might shop in Harrods, but you might not get a good product. But a lot of the time you do. Let's have a look at what you guys are saying. Exactly, we need to cross the ball more. Take-ons don't work against these guys. Possession is too soft. We needed to move the ball quicker, mate, but we don't do it because we're more bothered, in my opinion, about retaining possession. I understand that. I get it. You don't want to give the possession back to them because that gives them time to take time and waste that element of which is so precious in a football game, especially when we're losing the game. But even when we were not losing the game, even when it was 0-0, nobody's taking a risk. Nobody's taking a man on. We're not really having snapshots. We're not really having little 1-2s, these cute little 1-2s. We're not really having Joe Rothwell drive at the centre of Millwall. We're not having Dan James take on his man in that first half enough. We're having Jayden Bogle make mistakes in possession. We're getting Brendan Aronson receiving the ball from a throw-in and putting the ball back out for a throw-in to Millwall. Too many mistakes, too sloppy, lack of accuracy, and just ultimately not good enough this evening. And it needs to be better. And it needs to be. Do you know why, everybody? Because the pressure is on, as we know, because the standard is top 2. We do not want those playoffs. We don't want them. We do not want them. And we're seeing a little bit of form right now. We're seeing a little bit of form. Draw, loss away from home. That has got to be ironed out. We need to be seeing win, maybe a draw. Look, we can draw games. Of course we can draw games. But it's got to be in the right vein. It has. That just tonight was really poor. Hitting hope with subs is very disappointing. Look, I completely agree. Matthew of Northampton says, sick of the inconsistency of our performance of the players. Farker is out of his depth. And we just can't seem to get into the rhythm. Can we, Matthew? We can't seem to get into the rhythm as a fan base. And I was speaking to Joe Wayman about this. Me and Joe very much on the look. Speaking to Joe last night, win is only good enough. Win is only good enough. And we both said the same thing. Different points of view, but he said the same thing. Okay. Win is only good enough this evening. 100%. You've got to be coming into these games and winning. Millwall shouldn't be taking 3 points off Leeds United. They shouldn't. And is that said with arrogance? It should be. And that's not because I'm an arrogant Leeds fan. It's fueled by what I've been told by the owners. It's fueled what I've seen from the ownership. And it's fueled from the manager talking about as being one of the best sides in the division and from what I've seen. Yeah. So there's elements backing that up. It's not just being nonchalantly saying, oh, yeah, well, teams shouldn't beat Leeds, because 10 years ago, we were that shite. It doesn't matter if we were Leeds United. You should be beating us because we're poor. Because of what we're putting out on the pitch and what we're putting in the dugout and what we've got upstairs. Not good enough. But now, with everything bred through this side, Leeds United should be winning against Bristol City. We should be winning against Norwich. We should be winning against Millwall. We should be, but we haven't. Elliot says, out Con, I think we need to have a look at Nonso now. And do what, El? And do what? Who are you going to bring in? Let me know, mate. Let me know. If you take him out, who are you putting in right now? Because Ramazani's not back for about 3 weeks, mate. So who are you putting in? I'm genuinely interested to hear. Because if you're saying Solomon, look, I don't mind Solomon. I don't mind him as a player. I think he's okay. But if he's the answer, what's the question for me? Pete says, if we do go, Farker will have to go because he won't have a better team then and he can't tactically win games. I think we've got to stop talking about that right now, mate, because I think we've got to get into a situation of which we're pulling up consistency across the board. If I can see us winning home and winning away consistently across a period like we did in January last year, where you're thinking, bloody hell, and we're all going around going, wow, this is breeding confidence in us. Fantastic. But I don't subscribe to the notion right now that we can be this consistent away from home across the season. I don't think you can be and finish in the top 2. I don't think you can. I think you've got to iron out a bit of consistency away from home. I think that's the problem. Andy says, we don't do anything easy. Another bad day at the office, but we'll be out at the end of the season. I'm not stressing yet. Yeah. International break. Is that what it is now? It is, isn't it? My God. International break. Good Lord. I self-Lord and Master. If we get promoted, I wouldn't give Farker a multi-million check to go and buy players. I'd get him out before it's too late. It's definitely a conversation to be had there, mate. Definitely a conversation. Kathleen, these are a joke. Kathleen's bang on the money. Guys, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's really not. We all talk about marginal gains in football, right? Marginal gains in football. Arteta's done it with Arsenal. Pep's done it with Man City. Slot and Klopp have done it with Liverpool. You're dangerous from set pieces. Why do these top coaches do this? Why do you think they focus on it so much? Probably because if you're getting teams in low blocks against these top teams, and you're still getting top teams against these top teams, by the way, playing low blocks, the top managers are thinking, well, what can we do marginal gains wise? Well, yeah, we can move about the team. We can laterally play. We can create these spaces. We can have players shooting from outside the box and getting deflections, and that's another marginal gain. We can rely on quality. But what's that big thing that will score maybe 13, 14, 15 goals from a season? Set pieces. That's it. Set pieces. So when Leeds tonight are playing really poorly, really, really poorly, may I add, and we have about 8 or 9 corners, I'd say, guys. Maybe set pieces as well. You may be rounding up to 10, 11, 12. And we don't do anything with them. And do you know what the best bit of movement was? Ilan Melier towards the back end when he came up for a corner, going to the front post for 2 separate corners. Because that's what we hit. But we don't have any player going to the front post when we hit the front post every time. Why? Why do we not have that? To just flick the ball on. I think we saw it once in the first half. But we don't have any plan from corners. And this is more of a problem than people think, genuinely. You have got to sort out these set pieces. It's all well and good turning around and going, oh, we scored against Sheffield United and taking it and almost it being a piss take. This should not be a piss take because otherwise we are having to score goals consistently from open play, which I genuinely believe any team in Europe would find difficult and being sort of the top tier percentile of any league by not relying on set pieces at all, of which we don't. This has got to be ironed out and sorted drastically. This has got to be one of the number one focuses for me in training. I don't understand why. Farke said in his press conference around about 2 months ago that they're working with an American company, an American model. Sack him. Do something else. Get one of these coaches in who celebrates on the touchline whenever we score. Where's Gio gone? Do you remember we had him when Gary Monk was there? Where's he gone? It's got to be better than this. Has to be. Oh, man. Frustrating, isn't it, guys? 12 corners. My God, 12. 12. Imagine if Millwall had had 12 corners, guys. 12. What do you reckon they'd have done with it? Rothwell set piece delivery is exceptional. Never anything on the end of it. Do you know what, G-Man? This is a Rothwell fan as well. I didn't think they were great today. But yeah, normally they are pretty good. But yeah, the thing is, you're not going to ever see them as good because when they're put in the box, nobody does anything. Nobody does anything. But yeah, guys, what we're going to do is I'm going to leave it there. But what we're going to also do is put up a video in around about 10 minutes of me and my old man. We're going to go on a bit of a natter, everybody. So stay online for that. We'll make sure you subscribe to One Leeds because we're going to go on a bit of a... I need someone to talk to about it, and my old man is definitely ready for this one. So, and we're going to be uploading that probably in about half an hour's time. So make sure you like the video before leaving, everybody. Get your comments in the section below. Please let me know what you think. We've got 3 things coming out tomorrow as well. It's been an absolute pleasure, everybody. Sorry you had to sit through that with me. See you in a bit. Cheers.